What is up, IDP Army? It's me, your man Jordan Reigns at 50 Shades of Drunk on Twitter. If you want to give me a follow there, this is the IDP Army YouTube channel, talking mostly IDP, all fantasy football. Gonna talk to you guys and gals today about our Week 16 waiver wire targets for IDP waiver wire targets, as well as some of our notes going forward. If you're still here, you made it probably. You are in the playoffs. Hopefully your best ball teams are doing good. Hopefully your dynasty fantasy teams are doing good. And hopefully you are on your way to win a championship. We will be here. No, we won't be here on Sunday because it'll be Christmas. So Merry Christmas. So get your lineup set early. We have games on Saturday as well this week. But let's go ahead and jump into the rankings, or not the rankings, sorry, the waiver wire targets, as well as some of the injury news for Week 16 IDP fantasy football and just around the NFL in general. So it's a pretty busy week for injuries, honestly. Leighton Vander Esch, unfortunately, hated to see this, left week 15 with a neck injury. If you have played IDP for a while, if you're a Cowboys fan, or just, watch the NFL in general, you know probably that Leighton Vander Esch has struggled with injuries, specifically neck injuries in the past. So this is not good. We don't know what's going to happen. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see in my notes here, essentially holding our breath as managers to see what happens. I don't think we're going to be able to count on him the rest of the season. And as dynasty managers, we're just hoping that he can make it through this. Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard from the Cincinnati Bengals, both going through some injury struggles right now. Hendrickson missed this last week with a broken wrist, but it looks like he might be on track to play this upcoming week in Week 16. Contrast that to Sam Hubbard, who did play in Week 15, now has an injury to his calf. Looks like he's going to miss a couple of weeks. So again, Joseph Osai, who was on the waiver wire targets last week, not a bad pickup this week again, because both these guys are kind of banged up, and one of them is out, one of them's in. He's going to get an increase in snaps. Jack Sanborn, hate to see this. Jack Sanborn went down, left the game with an injury to his ankle, did not return. I don't think this is too foreboding on his overall value going forward. You know what I'm saying? Because Jack Sanborn is very young. I know Billy said the other day on the show that he thinks that there's a chance that Chicago looks to a linebacker in the draft, but I think they like what they have with Sanborn. And I really am excited about him going forward in dynasty leagues for the next couple of years, for sure, especially with getting rid of Roquan. To me, that was a very bullish signal for Jack Sanborn. We've seen him be very productive for IDP and in the NFL. Like I said, hate to see it. Hope you heal up, my big guy. Deshaun Elliott exited the Jets game with a shoulder injury, has dealt with injuries all season. When he's been on the field, he's been one of the best IDP safeties for fantasy. But again, he left the game, did not come back in. Shoulder/arm injury. So you'll have to monitor that. Javon Kinlaw, designated to return from IR. So there's a little bit of good injury news. So if you're in, a deeper dynasty league maybe, and you need a specific D tackle, and you've been waiting for Javon Kinlaw, your time is now. And if that's not your situation and you're looking for a deep streamer, maybe you are in a 3 or 4 defensive line league, again, he might be somebody you look at here down the stretch just because you have to, depending on your situation, again, you might have just lost Sam Hubbard. I don't know. So that's some good injury news, like I said. And then last but not least, definitely not least, we have Quinnen Williams, Big Q, defensive lineman for the New York Jets. He did not play this week. He was day-to-day. Again, he did not suit up this last week. But I think / hope that we get to see him here for the last 2 weeks of the season for fantasy. They said he was pretty close to playing this last week, and they just made the final call there right before the game. It sounded like that they didn't want to put him on the field. So that sounds to me hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic about Quinnen Williams for the next 2 weeks. Your semi finals and then your finals in your fantasy, your IDP leagues. So we'll get him back. Have a great season. So let's get to what you wanted to hear about the targets, the waiver wire targets. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if it is your first time here. We are happy to have you. If you are returning, we are also very happy to have you back. Listen to the podcast feed. We appreciate you there. And be sure to check out our premium rankings. I just went through and updated everything. We've got the dynasty rankings, we've got the ultimate IDP index, we've got the 2023 or the best ball rankings that are getting updated, and the rookies are going into the dynasty rankings already. Rookie list was updated, it's set to the side, it's looking nice. Keep an eye out on the channel for videos on rookies, on the NFL draft this upcoming season. We will have a lot of coverage on that to help you win your fantasy leagues, because we're always going to win. We're not building for some future world. We're trying to win every single interaction, every single league, every single week. Ultimately, that's not always going to happen, but that's what we're ultimately trying to accomplish, right? Perfection. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these waiver wire targets. Rayshon Jenkins, defensive back for the Jaguars, had an incredible game. Pick 6, 2 interceptions, 18 tackles. Game for the absolute ages, honestly, for Rayshon Jenkins. Jaguars defensive back. Go. If you watched that Cowboys game, if you are a Jaguars fan, you are aware of the impact he had on that game. Just an incredible performance. So there was a lot of good football this last week. I'm gonna probably mess this guy's name up. I'm sorry, but Dayo Odeyingbo, defensive line player for the Colts, sacked the crap, or who just gave the entire Vikings offense fits. Got to Cousins a couple of times this week. They said the Colts, when they drafted him, were taking a risk. Very explosive player, but had an injury, and that's why he fell into, I think he was a high second-round draft pick, but he looked really good out there to me this last week. He's definitely a bullish player, to be looking to stash on the end of your dynasty rosters at this time of the year. Go look for Dayo Odeyingbo, and you might be able to play him here down the stretch as well. Bobby McCain has been very reliable here as a waiver wire defensive back down this, all season basically. Nick Scott seems to be playing a lot of snaps for the Rams. And the Rams are just kind of a mess. But if you want somebody that's going to get a ton of snaps, essentially, defensively, Nick Scott's a good guy to go for right now. And again, hopefully you are set up to where you don't have to go get these players, but these are some players that might be on your waiver wires. I saw a couple of them on mine. I saw a couple of them. I actually saw a lot of these guys on just random waiver wires just across all my leagues. That's one of the ways I help you guys figure out how to do this. I look across my leagues and say, okay, who are some good players that might be out there? Marcus Golden, defensive line player from the Cardinals, had a pretty good game this last week. Joe Thomas, he filled in for Jack Sanborn. Not saying he's going to be a one-to-one replacement, but if you're looking for somebody to plug that hole that you had Jack Sanborn in at this point, Joe Thomas, you could find worse. You could find worse. And then Monty Rice got a little message from Balmer right before I came on. He said that the linebacker for the Titans has been having a really good run here last few weeks. I haven't been paying that close attention to him, but I wanted to make sure that he got in here as well. So I'm going to check the chat out. I'm sure there's some questions over there. And I also, actually, let me pull this down. Sorry. And I also have some, I got a couple questions in the chat. Bulletproof says, lost Sanborn last week. That's tough. Need me a linebacker this week. He was released today. Sanborn was released today? I didn't see that. Dayo was released? What? Why? Bro. Oh, in your league. Okay. Ooh. Context is everything. All right, let's hop over to the Twitter feed. So I put this question on the IDP Army Twitter. If you don't follow us over there, you should, at the IDP Army. Also follow us on TikTok at the IDP Army. Follow us on Instagram at the IDP Army. You guessed it. So, said, who do you think was the biggest defensive surprise of 2022 for fantasy football? Got quite a few interesting responses, quite a few players that you all probably know and love. Let me see if I can zoom in on this just a smidge more. So a lot of votes for Jalen Petrie, having a great season for Houston. Zaire Alexander, who came in and backed up, for Shaq Leonard. Shaq Leonard, who did not play this year, formerly Darius Leonard. Really worried about his career overall, but he's been having a great season, has been a great replacement for him. One of the top IDPs across all positions. Let's see what this other one says down here. Sanborn got some love in one of these comments. Love to see that. I think he got a few more votes. Another Petrie vote, another Petrie vote. Pete Werner before the injury. Yes, he started out the season hot. A lot of people got pretty far. Yeah, I think Frankie Louvu, another player who started out very hot. Quay Walker, there's got a little vote there. Hufanga getting some votes. So my question to you, IDP Army, is who do you think the best, the biggest defensive surprise was for you this season? You know, a player who maybe ended up being more reliable than you thought, maybe a player that completely blew past your projections, a player that you were pleasantly surprised with, that maybe you've been riding with for a few seasons and it kind of like finally came to fruition. Drop us a comment down below. Would love to hear that from you. And yeah, I'd love to interact with you all. Don't really have a whole lot more to say. You know, like I said, if you're still here, congratulations. The Bash team, we made it to the top 10. If we make it to the top 2, we will be flying out to New York City and we will be taking the whole thing down. And I say if, just, you know, it's an offhand thing, you know, it's just to make people, I don't want people to feel, you know, like they don't have a chance. You know, I want them to have hope. But number one spot, that's always been the destination. That's always been the goal. And that's where we're trying to get to. So if you're riding with this IDP Army, if you're riding with the Green Ranger, that's the name of our team. We appreciate you. We look forward to many, many, many great things for all of us in the IDP Army. That's all of us who play IDP. That's all of us who play fantasy, really. If you're an underdog, you're in the IDP Army. I'll see a few more comments here. Got one vote for Sauce Gardner here towards the bottom. I like that. You know, he hasn't really been super, super flashy here the last week or two, but very good for a rookie quarterback. That's for sure. Somebody you want to play. Willie Gay, he got some love. Julian Love got some love. So, yeah, again, it's if you're not playing IDP fantasy football, you literally are playing half the game of fantasy football. You're actively choosing to disengage from what you're already watching on the field, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So join us over here. You know, we're not going to hold it against you. We're not going to shame you. We want you to come play. We'd love for you to love Jack Sanborn like the rest of us. And if you're watching this video, you already do anyway. So I don't know what I'm saying this for. Maybe I'll cut it up into a clip. You know what I mean? And throw it on LinkedIn. I don't know. No, I'm just joking. All right, y'all. Do me a favor. Tell somebody about the IDP Army. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, celebrating whatever you do with your people and your family. Hug your loved ones. You know, we love you out here in the IDP Army. Again, I'm going to do a start sit show on Saturday. Question, come to the chat. You know, the fact that you're asking means there's probably some demand for it. If y'all hound me about it, you know, you don't hit the comments, you know, watch the YouTube shorts, blow up the comments in there, show some love. Sure, I'll be here Saturday morning. No promises yet. But I could do that. You know what I'm saying? It is Christmas Eve, but, you know, I fuck with the IDP Army. War don't stop for Christmas or Christmas Eve. You know what I'm saying? War, please. All right, y'all. Like I said, share the IDP Army with somebody. Check out the YouTube membership and the Patreon if you want to join up and get the full stack rankings. That's Dynasty, that's Best Ball, that's IDP. Best Ball teams are doing pretty good too. We're advancing a pretty decent clip. So 2023 is going to be a good year for all of us. So, all right, like I said, Merry Christmas. Hug your loved ones. Thanks for everything. Share the IDP Army with a loved one and a friend and your league. And make sure you win this week. If you're still in it, don't give up. Even if you lost Jalen Hurts, even if you lost Justin Fields, keep the faith. All right, what's my man Saul Guerrero say? He says, keep the dream alive.